Hey guys, I'm Miss Jason, host of Fab Nightlife series Jason's Closet. Today, I've partnered up with Clark to give you the best Black history tour of my city, London. Now obviously, I'm starting very close to home. Brixtonia, South London stand up. We're gonna check out some monuments here. Let's get it popping. And we're gonna start in Brixton's Electric Avenue, okay? You guys may remember Eddie Grant's smash hit. I think it was 1983 smash hit. We gonna rock, don't you, Electric Avenue. Now that song was actually in response to a rise in poverty and unemployment in the area and a lot of racism at the time as well. And there was a huge riot that happened in 1981 on this very strip. But one fact about this street which I find like amazing is the fact that this was the first street that was actually lit with electric lights, hence why it's called Electric Avenue. We gonna rock, don't you, Electric Avenue. Now some of you may actually recognize where I am right now. I'm standing in the heart of Windrush Square. If you look behind me, you can see the town hall, but I'm here for one special reason. In 1948, Britain was only just starting to recover from the Second World War. So there were mass labour shortages. Britain placed adverts all around the Caribbean looking for workers to come and build up the economy again. In 1948, the Empire Windrush set sail from Jamaica, headed to Tilbury Docks in Essex. Now this square is actually dedicated to that journey and to those people. Now passengers from the Empire Windrush moved all around the UK, but a lot of them decided to stay in London. Brixton being one of the main hotspots that they decided to come to. It's where we are, it's where we are. Now we are at a major heritage site, okay? We are at the Black Cultural Archives. Now this archive was built in response to racial tensions in the area, and so that Black people could see, especially young Black people could see positive representations of themselves. Let's go inside and check it out. So we are on platform 1 of Brixton Overground Station, and here you can see Peter Lloyd and two other sculptures which are hiding behind in the distance. And these are thought to be the first sculptural representations of Black people in England. Now these statues were erected in the 1980s when Brixton was one of the most densely populated and economically deprived places in London. But these statues were actually seen as a celebration of cultural identity. "30 Savile Road, darling." Now this is the flagship of London-born Ghanaian parents Oswald Beaute. Now Oswald was the first Black tailor on Savile Row and also the youngest of his generation. Actually, youngest period. He was the youngest and the first Black tailor. Just over at number 19, which is just across the road from Oswald Beaute, we have Maurice Sedwell, who is Trini born and he's a tailor, also here on Savile Row. Now Maurice actually learned to sew in Trinidad, and now he's helping educate the tailors of the future with his own academy right here. So we are at the world's first YMCA right here in Bloomsbury, where Harold Moodley established the League of Coloured Peoples in 1931. There's a plaque right over there that you can look at to check it out. Now the League of Coloured People was established to protect the interests of its members and Black people everywhere. Some of their major work was eliminated the bar against Black people becoming officers in the armed forces. Now this isn't the original building, but it is the original site of a famed author, freeman, abolitionist, and all-round movement starter, Olude Equiano. Now this is the place where in 1789 he published his autobiography about his journey through slavery as a child and his path to freedom. What's important about this book is that it was a catalyst in passing the British Slave Trade Act. Now this book helped towards the abolition of slavery in 1807. So we have you to thank for that, Mr. Olude Equiano. Right, so I am coming to you from none other than Nelson's column in Trafalgar Square. Now, on the column, you can actually see the depiction of sailor George Ryan. Now, George actually served in the Royal Navy as part of HMS Victory in 1813. George was one of the many men that fought for Nelson in this historic war, along with many other soldiers brought from across the British Empire. Right, so we are in South Kensington at one of my favourite museums in the whole entire world, the V&A. Now we're here for a special exhibition called Staying Power, and it's a collection of photographs that documents the Black British experience from the 1950s to the late 90s. I think this should be really fun, so follow me and let's go inside. Let's get our knowledge up. Unfortunately, when we went inside, we realized the series that we actually came to see doesn't actually exist, which is very naughty V&A considering that you've advertised it for Black History Month. But, not to worry, here's some B-roll of colonialism at its best. So you guys may be able to tell from the coloured houses in the background, but I am in Notting Hill's Portobello Road, okay? The market's just behind me. This was also a major Windrush settlement. But what you wouldn't know is a lot of its history has actually been erased from racial conflict and also the gentrification that happened here in the 70s. But luckily, due to extensive research, I've managed to find a few little hotspots around the area where things were actually happening and where you can actually see some of the history here. So follow me, let's go check them out. So right now I am standing outside the famed Mangrove Restaurant. Now, it's not the Mangrove Restaurant at the moment, but it used to be. Now when you come to the Mangrove, there are two plaques here, but one is not to be confused with the other. The one over there is a sign for the new bar that's here, but the major plaque that we should be following is the one up there. If you look in the top right hand corner, you can see the plaque of Frank Gilbert Critchlow. Now he was a major pioneer in the civil rights movement. The Black Panthers used to meet up here. Diana Ross came down, Nina Simone, you've got Bob Marley. These are all the people that helped encompass the movement. Right, I'm not gonna lie, this is one of my favorite stops that we've come to because we love to come to this place every single year. Now, Claudia Jones, as a response to the riots that were going on in the area around the time, in 1958 started what we know as the Notting Hill Carnival. Now, if you look over here, you can actually see her plaque. Shout out to you, Claudia Jones, because Notting Hill Carnival has grown to be the second largest festival in the whole entire world. It's a beautiful display of multiculturalism in British society, and we have you to thank for that. Now, if you need to refresh your memory on some of the spots that we've been to, go back to 0.00, get your notepad out, and take notes down, okay? Make sure you do extra research and even more research. There's so much Black history in London to learn about. And I want to say thank you so much for joining me on my Black History tour. And smooches and smooches. Oh, okay, wait. I got the giggles in my head. I was like, what are you saying?